So if you've been around on the channel for a while, you know I like to say Nintendo likes to do Nintendo things, and today Nintendo did something very Nintendo-like, and we need to talk about it. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below. Hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. Now, guys, today, to my surprise, I thought I was going to just be talking about Animal Crossing Direct and a few other small news stories, and I may have to create like a separate video to cover some of the other stuff that's gone on today. But again, to my surprise, at the end of this event, we had the official announcement for Nintendo Switch Online Expansion Pass pricing, and they actually include the Animal Crossing paid DLC, which you can still buy separately. And you know, I'm not going to go into all the details of all of the things that were shown at the Animal Crossing event. I am not the biggest Animal Crossing player myself, but I know there are a ton of huge fans out there, so I can quickly say I'll link to the direct down below in the description. But obviously you're getting a 2.0 update, which is actually declared from Nintendo to be the last major Animal Crossing free DLC edition, or free update rather. And then they are having a paid DLC option, which is titled Animal Crossing Happy Home Paradise, and you can purchase this standalone at $25, or you can subscribe to this Nintendo Switch Online Expansion Pass service and actually get it included in that cost. So that is a good value proposition if you are an Animal Crossing fan. And I also want to dive into what that might mean for more of the future NSO expansion pack conversation, because Nintendo's going to have to really swing for the fences when it comes to adding value if they want people to stay subscribed to the service at a whopping $49.99 a month. But this Animal Crossing Happy Home Edition does look like it's going to be at least a lot of content. It's kind of funny to me because they said you're, you know, kind of promoting vacation homes for other players and things. So it sounds to me like you're running a timeshare resort in Animal Crossing, but there's definitely a ton to unpack here for Animal Crossing fans. I do want to transition the conversation into NSO for this video though, because there is a lot to unpack here. Before we dive into the conversation of is this price point worth it, I do want to give some information quickly on the N64 Controller. Whereas if you guys are actually looking to get this, it is available for pre-order now. Last time I checked, it is not sold out. Another funny caveat, and we're going to dive into Nintendo's practices here in this video, but another funny caveat is you have to be a Nintendo Switch Online subscriber to buy this controller. And you know, myself, I've been waiting this entire time. I've actually let my subscriptions expire for roughly about 4 or 5 months now, and I've been waiting for this, you know, announcement and the additions to be available to actually resubscribe. And to my surprise, since I had to be an NSO subscriber to actually get the controller pre-ordered, I went ahead and signed up for 1 month of NSO base service just so I could do that, because you cannot buy the expansion pack just yet, as it becomes available on October 25th. So that's, you know, an extra $3.99 bonus that Nintendo got out of me for that. And then it is a $49.99 controller, which I think the N64 controller is worth. I don't think that the Sega Genesis controller is necessarily worth that in my mind, just because it is a 3-button layout, and I'm not going to be able to play many games at all other than Genesis and probably like NES, maybe some SNES games on there that you could play through without the extra shoulder buttons and the additional buttons on the gamepad and things like that. Now, the one good news piece with the N64 controller is that it does support Rumble. And I was curious about this because at a $49.99 price point, I definitely wanted to see it included. And there is kind of an asterisk with that, because it does look like in supported games such as Star Fox 64. So does that mean that we're only getting Rumble features in games that actually previously had that programmed in? That's what it sounds like from that statement. I can't remember off the top of my head how many games supported Rumble and which ones didn't, because it just wasn't something that stuck out to me when I was a kid originally playing on the N64. All I know is I hope that at least Ocarina of Time and other major titles that I plan on playing will have Rumble support as well. But regardless, at least the controller has the technology in there, and it's not something that they're going to ask you to pay $50 for and then still not at least add in a basic feature like Rumble. Now, I don't know if the Sega Genesis controller has Rumble included. I could do some more research, or if you guys know, share in the comments down below. But I did go ahead and pre-order the N64 controller, and it does look like it's still up at this time. So I will have that linked in the description as well in case if you guys are interested. But now we have to transition into the big talking point around this being a $49.99 annual service for an individual membership and $79.99 for a family plan. And I can tell you guys, just from personal opinions online and comments and different things that I've been reading, almost no one was expecting the pricing to come out that high. And clearly Nintendo fans, you know, even across The broader audience were not either, because if you go to look at Nintendo's page where they announced this pricing, the like to dislike ratio is like literally half, and you never see that on Nintendo videos. Almost always people are happy with the updates, with the exception of the last NSO games that we saw added in on the SNES when nobody had ever heard of them, and they realized that Nintendo is just dropping the ball with this service. That's the last video I can remember seeing this kind of dislike action on. But you know, the reality is regardless of how the fans feel, Nintendo feels like the $49.99 price point is worth it. And it's kind of like the thing that I want to start off on that's weird to me about this service announcement at this price point is the fact that they felt the need to include the $25 paid Animal Crossing DLC included in this expansion pack to make it worth it to the consumer. Like, obviously they know they're reaching here. I definitely think that they should have an option to not include that DLC and have a lower annual price, but this could be signaling to what Nintendo is planning for a bigger picture in the future. The problem with it, and I feel like why fans are so unhappy, and I think I'm unhappy with this price point right now, I'm still going to sign up for it because of freaking Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, and I want to be able to play those on my Switch. I also want to be able to do online play on Mario Kart 64 and F-Zero X and Star Fox 64, so it's like, dang it, Nintendo, just go ahead and take my money. But this does seem like a pretty anti-consumer move on the base level. But what I think they're trying to tell us with including this paid Animal Crossing DLC included in the expansion pack may be the fact that by being an expansion pack subscriber, there will be certain DLC packs that come out for games that you as a subscriber will not have to pay for, and in turn, as long as you remain subscribed, you will be able to participate in the DLC of that game. Now, obviously that's speculation. That's one way that they could maybe save and justify this price, is like, oh, by the way, you can also get the Smash Fighters DLC packs included in this online expansion pack, or maybe the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC tracks, we're going to give you those as well. They could obviously update the service, make it more robust, and hopefully Nintendo hears the fan feedback that obviously a large majority of their crowd does not see the value in this enough to justify this price point, and hopefully they give us more features like that. The other big problem with, I think, with this price point, and I think it wouldn't be such a harsh reaction from fans if Nintendo would have done a better job continuing to update Nintendo Switch Online previously, as we saw them come out of the gate very strong with NES editions almost every month, if not every month, SNES editions every single month for a long time. Then they started to dwindle down and they just essentially forgot about it. So if you did sign up for an annual service as a consumer, you may go 3, 4, 5 months paying for that service that you prepaid for and see no additional content. And I think that that's the biggest problem here, is because people don't have that trust in Nintendo to continue to update these expansion pack services, because if they would have had a great track record to continue to support SNES and NES, I think we would feel a little bit more comfortable in the way that maybe we will get enough games eventually added in there. Maybe a ton of the rare ones come over, like Donkey Kong 64, like GoldenEye. You know, I know there's licensing issues around there, but some really fan classics, Conquer Bad Fur Day, like figure out the rating situation so that can go on there. Like, if there's a lot of licensing that has to end up being paid to Microsoft to use some of that stuff, it may justify the price a little bit more for fans. You may also want to even give us a longer, broader picture of how many games you're going to continue to add, because we're kind of in the dark right now, other than the initial launch lineup and the games that they've announced that will be coming later on in the future, but they're not committing to any kind of regular update schedule, at least not to what I'm aware of. And when they did say they would be doing monthly updates on the NES and SNES games in the past, you know, they quickly got off that train and stopped adding in games that fans wanted to see over the course of time. And I think that that's what you can't do when you're talking about a live subscription service. It's one thing for Nintendo to put out $60 games that people sometimes don't feel like are worth that value, but it is a one-time purchase and you are done. When you're talking about a live online subscription service, the service has to continue to grow and evolve to make it worth it to the consumer to continue to renew. It's also very interesting that there is no monthly option for this expansion pack, so it's not like you can just dip your toe in for 1 month for maybe $6.99 or $7.99 and see how you feel about the service for a while. You have to commit to a full year, which is another thing that can rub people the wrong way, because it's Nintendo getting all of your money up front, and it's not putting them in any kind of scenario where they have to commit to you, the consumer, that they will update so many games every month or quarterly. Like, we don't know what what their actual schedule is going to be. If they told me that for sure for the next 12 months that they would be adding in 2 Nintendo 64 games every month bare minimum, and they would be adding in 3 Sega Genesis games every month bare minimum, that might soften the blow. But I think Nintendo needs to do a lot with the messaging around this if they want people to truly subscribe, because I really want to know from you guys how you're feeling about this, because there is a lot of fan hype around these N64 games finally coming to NSO, and then you see the price tag attached along with it, and it's like, okay, Nintendo may be overreaching here, and I think you can say that they are overreaching with this. Again, the way that they can save it in my eyes, if they give us a ton of DLC that's going to be included that we don't have to pay with, and you know, they have to prove to us that they're going to continue to update the service as time goes on. So I totally understand the people who aren't going to sign up for this thing day one now because of the price point. Like, you may want to ride it out and see what Nintendo's actually going to do for this service, or you may just gamble the $50, sign up for the year, see how it goes for the first year, and you know, if they drop the ball, then don't renew the next year. So that's what I'm going to do. I will say a couple positives. I don't want to make it all negative here. Literally one thing that stuck out to me in this trailer that I guess I missed last time, or just didn't pop as much, is the textures on these games, or just the resolution, I guess you could say, is significantly higher. I mean, whenever they showed that Ocarina of Time footage, and I noticed there was no pixels on Link whatsoever, and then you saw the same thing with Mario Tennis and Mario Kart 64, like, that was reassuring to me. I was like, okay, at least these games are going to be played in a great resolution. I do wish they had the ability to play them in widescreen, even if it's not native and you stretch the image. Like, sometimes I want to still do that, but the black bars do appear to be there to stay. And then they did also announce, which we did not know previously, is the inclusion of save states, and I think it looked like you could have up to 4 at the same time. So obviously that'll come in handy if you guys want to save right before a boss room or something like that. I'm going to try to refrain from using those unless I need to like walk away from my Switch or power it down for some reason, just because, you know, I like to enjoy them like I did originally back in the day. But guys, at this point in the video, I really want to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Make sure you share with me how you're feeling about this announcement. I am obviously a very pro Nintendo guy, and I still cannot see them quite giving us enough value at this point in time for the price tag that they're asking. That said, I'm still signing up, which may sound ridiculous to some people, but you know, I want to play these classic N64 games, but I definitely see the anti-consumer part of things, at least where it stands right now. They could change the service over time, in my opinion, could absolutely change on this price point, but that's where I want to pass the question off to you guys, is how do you feel about the presentation, how Nintendo handled this today, the inclusion of the Animal Crossing DLC, which may swing it, you know, to make it worth it for some players. But as somebody like me who, you know, I will like to check out the Animal Crossing DLC, but I am far from a hardcore Animal Crossing player, I want to know, like, from you guys that maybe aren't gonna get the Animal Crossing DLC, what does this $49.99 price tag do to you? And then you also have to have the conversation, even if you are an Animal Crossing fan, how do you feel about paying $49.99 for the DLC? But then if you don't want to renew next year, it sounds like you don't get access to everything that is included with that. I think Nintendo did make some kind of statement around some of your stuff still being available, even if your subscription, you know, expired. But I want to know from you guys how you feel about all this. If you are an NSO subscriber currently, are you planning to do like the prorated upgrade, where it does sound like you'll get a slight discount if you have multiple months still in the pipeline that you haven't gone through? So I do look forward to hearing from you guys. Share all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below about how you think Nintendo is handling Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack. Thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. I do truly appreciate you all sticking around until the end. I do at this point in the video want to invite you all one more time to join Sunbro Nation if you haven't done so already. Do so by subscribing below, hit the like button on your way out if you enjoyed it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. That's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you all have a great day. Sunbro Nation, out.